Because it's one thing that a husband has to have. He has to have respect.
He has to have
He has to have
respect. Okay.
respect. But I think it's been misplaced and misappropriated.
It's been misplaced.
And misunderstood of what respect was.
Well, and I think also what a husband thinks is respect, the woman might not make the same connection. So it really gets back to what we talk about a lot, which is communication.
Right.
Because my husband would, something would transpire, and he'd be like, "You don't respect me," and I'm like, "What you talking about?
Right.
How did you get respect out of that situation?" So it's conversation.
It's conversation.
Right?
You got to talk about it because
you got to talk about it.
It's very key. And this was a major hurdle for us when we first got married. I mean, it was a really major hurdle.
He was big on that R word. I was like, "Is he serious?"
Well, because like I always have this saying, honey. I always say this. I always say more is caught than taught.
Okay.
So a lot of times you learn by your environment and things that you watch around you. So if you have an expectation of what you think marriage is, and nobody sit down and go through premarital counseling and they sit down and they talk about what marriage is and the role of a husband. We do a section when we do marriage counseling, we call it the roles and responsibilities, because nobody really sits down and talk about what it is to be a wife. What are your responsibilities? What are your roles? What it is to be a husband? What is your responsibility? What are your roles? And if nobody sits down and tell you that, you're going to learn from somewhere.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So it's where you
Can I say something real
from.
quick? I mean, gosh, that was so key what you said. Your kids, sometimes we might think that, well, we didn't say that. No, that you're always teaching.
Right.
You are always in teaching mode with your children, with the people around you. They are catching. Even if you're not saying it, they are catching it through your action and your behavior. Right. But go ahead, honey. I just thought that was key.
Kind of because I know we got to hurry tonight, but when my wife and I, when we first got married, this area of respect was an issue. I married a beautiful woman who she's never in any kind of way what I would say disrespect to me. What I mean by disrespect, in terms of what I mean, what real disrespect is. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but. My definition of respect was off, what I thought respect was. And I remember we would go around her family. Now, my wife's family is totally different than my family. Two totally different backgrounds. She comes from a pretty much female dominated family. And then I come from a pretty much a male dominated family, steeped in tradition, steeped in Pentecostal. I was a staunch Pentecostal person. That's how I know religion will kill a marriage. So we came from these two totally different backgrounds, two totally opposite ends of the spectrum. And so I'm not saying that a lot of the women that I grew up around in the church and different things like that, I'm not saying that they didn't have opinions. I believe that they did. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that when you have somebody that has I never saw a person that had a strong opinion. You know what I mean?
You see how and when you do a sentence and it says ...
Right.
So he's saying strong opinion, and he's like ... My wife had a strong opinion. Right. That's what he's leading up to.
Somebody that had such a strong opinion, feeling like they needed to be heard. So a lot of times when we were having discussions about things or we were talking about things, my wife is just telling her point of view, and I took it as if she was challenging me or. She didn't honor me as a man, because what I saw demonstrated growing up was men dominated the situation. All of the decisions and all of the things, it was made as we call it, not unilateral, but what do you call that when one person one party made all of the decisions?
Yeah, unilateral, I think.
Is that unilateral?
But what's so interesting that you say that, kind of getting back to what I said a minute ago about communication, we would be talking, and so I've always looked at marriage as this is a team sport.
Right.
We're in this together. We're partners. We're in this thing together. We're here to make each other stronger. So he talks about situations. So I gave my input. I'm thinking we working this out. And he was like, you didn't respect me. And I'm like, what in the world is he talking about? I thought we were living life. I thought we were talking through things, and I didn't understand that he was coming from a perspective where once the man says whatever, this is it. You're supposed to just shut it down. Right. I thought we were still talking. And I'd be talking, and just oblivious to the fact until one day he was like, you don't respect me. I'm like,
and then it goes back to what we talked about last week, was what we're talking about is the power of agreement. The whole lesson came from my wife saying that there's nothing more powerful on earth than a husband and a wife walking together in agreement. And so the first thing we talked about was understanding. And then in understanding, we began to tell people how you have to say that everybody has shared responsibility in this. And so I made a point last week to show you that the Bible says when he gives you your wife, he gave you a helper. And one of the things you have to understand about a helper is not less than. God would never send you somebody. If you're going to help me, that means you have the same expertise, understanding, and knowledge level that I have. That's a helper. How can you help me and you don't understand, we don't have the same knowledge, the same expertise?
A helper is supposed to add value.
You're supposed to add value to something. Think about it.
Yeah.
Why would I
supposed
ask?
To take it higher.
Okay, if I know, if you say, honey, move this couch, okay? And I say, okay, Daniel, who's my 4-year-old son, I call him and say, Daniel, come help me.
You're like, Daniel can't help.
He can't add value to it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But Dylan can, or my brother can. They can add value to it because they have a knowledge level that shared experience. So I said a lot of times God will send you your wife to show you things or to teach you things that you don't see. It's something that it's like you're only looking at one side of the mountain, but a lot of times your wife can see another side that you don't see. So
making each other complete.
Right.
Making each other complete. And I like the way that the analogy that you gave, because so many times people misunderstand the connection of a husband and wife. A wife isn't there to be your servant. She's your helper.
Yes.
So that you guys can have a complete life and fulfill, those things that you're called to do.
A lot of couples, a lot of pastors make this mistake. And I've had pastors to tell me this. They say that my job is to run the church and her job is to do whatever.
I don't know, baby.
And so, but when God calls you, when he calls you to do a work in the ministry, you're called together.
Because you're no longer two things.
You are one flesh. So a lot of times your wife is there. She's sent to help you. And a lot of times you're trying to do everything on your own, and you're trying to handle everything on your own. You're trying to carry the burden of everything on your own. You're trying to make all of the decisions on your own, and you're doing everything by yourself. And it's amazing. A couple of years ago, a pastor right here, not too far from where we live, down in South Georgia, pulled up in his driveway, took a gun to his head, and blew his brains out the back of his head.
Wow.
Because you're trying to carry it by yourself.
And it was never meant to be
that way.
And it was
never meant to be that way. Now, I'm not saying that was his thing. I don't know.
I don't know the details of his story, but it's
what I'm
pressure.
saying is a lot of times men of God try to carry the vision that God has called them to do. They're trying to carry it by themselves, or they feel threatened. So my definition of respect, I know we only got about 5 minutes, came from fixing plates.
Y'all, that almost took us out.
I said, you are supposed to serve me and fix my plate.
I'm supposed to go to functions. I'm supposed to fix this plate. I said, we got a problem.
Right. Because that's what I saw.
Up in here.
And so a lot of times, we would go to family functions and different things like that. And
he's he's laughing and giggling.
And here's the amazing thing. Here's another thing. I just thought about this. A lot of times, we just finished the holidays. So a lot of times the spouse and stuff, the wife cooks the dinner. And
cleans the kitchen.
And do all of that stuff. And then the husband just sit down.
And laugh and burp. Right. And watch TV.
But think about that. Is that fair? It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. So a lot of times we look at that, and that's what I thought respect was. I thought that you're supposed to serve me, you're supposed to do this for me, and I was supposed to have no worries. But that's not respect.
What I was telling my husband when we were going through that, when I tell you, we can laugh about it now, but when I say, seriously, it was an issue.
It was a real issue.
It was a real issue. And I told him, I said, now, I don't understand how you think that that's okay. I said, why, when we're a team and we're working together and you love me and I love you and we're co-laboring together, we're working together.
Doing life together.
Why would you want me to wear myself down into the ground and you just sitting over there? I said, don't you think we can find some kind of way to work some things together so we can sit down and enjoy each other together and enjoy life together? Because you're going to want me to do all this, you resting. Then when I come over there, you're going to want to hug and give. I'm exhausted. I said, why would you want that? I said, I don't understand that. you're going to have to explain that to me. And so we had to really have some conversations. And when I began to talk to him about it from that perspective, to say, and how was that disrespecting you? And so we had to talk that through.
But it goes back, and then what I learned, like I said, more is caught than taught. And why I learned this, we were about 3-4 years into the marriage with this.
Yeah, the plates almost took us out.
I mean, it was a real big
plates
issue.
almost got us.
And just not plates, but just everything. You know, you do this, you do that, you do this. And
why you got so many comments? Why you got questions?
Right. Why you questioning me and different things like that? It was a very serious issue. I always say more is caught than taught. I watched my pastor, Calvin Washington. I just watched his life and how he honored his wife and how he respected his wife, how he pushed his wife's dreams. He was not intimidated by her. Whenever she questioned him, he didn't think it was an affront to him or anything like that. It was the way that he valued her comments, the way he valued her.
He valued what she brought to the table.
And this is what I learned, and that's the number one definition of respect, guys. The number one definition of respect is to have the ultimate value for each other.
Yeah.
You treat each other as if your wife is the most precious stone and your husband is the most precious thing ever. Because we're going to get into that in a minute.
Well, no, and I was going to say, when you demonstrate this respect, you demonstrate it in the words that you say.
Yes.
You just shouldn't say any and everything to your spouse. It amazes me. And I'm not saying that my husband and I haven't had disagreements, but when we've talked with couples over the years, it amazes me because, see, your spouse is supposed to be naked in front of you. There are things that you know about your spouse that nobody else will know. You should know those vulnerable areas. It amazes me how there are some couples, when they get heated or when they get frustrated, they will go there. They will take that one thing that they know will tear you apart and say it.
Now, do you value that person?
I mean, is that
do you value them? You know, we put value in things. I saw a post this week, and it was saying so many times we put value and time in things that will dwindle away. But the most important thing that will never die is the value that you invest in people. Do you value that person?
Do you value? So
by just flying off the handle and saying all kind of
just letting whatever come out your mouth. So you got to show respect in words. You got to show respect in your actions.
Yeah.
Some of you might not be saying it, but your actions say a whole bunch.
And this is what I had to learn. It goes back to when I was talking about fix it. You know, we always say fix the plates and we laugh and different things like that.
Y'all.
But let's go back to this thing of respect in actions. If you have a value and you view your spouse as priceless, like what I have is priceless, what I have is special. If you value them, then when it comes to things around the home, there'll be a shared responsibility.
Oh, yes. I didn't even see that one. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Right. It'll be a shared responsibility.
Yes.
Because when she talks about value.
I know, but that made me excited just thinking about it.
Value in your actions. You don't want, like my wife said, you don't want to just put everything on one person.
It's working together. It is whatever that work together may be. My uncle, I like the way that he phrased it. Thinking about your spouse and seeing what can I do to take a little load off of them. And I think that can go either way. What can I do just to lighten a little pressure off you? Either way, we got to take care of each other.
Yeah.
And then showing in your reactions. Some of us, the way we react to our spouse. I've seen some couples that react to each other in a way that you wouldn't react to a stranger. Just bad. Just really bad.
Yeah.
How do you react when the pressure's there? When the tension is there? All of that. Are you disrespectful? Do you curse your spouse out? Do you not talk to them for days? Wow. We've met couples that will walk around and it's like almost a whole month. Now, who does that?
Right.
How is that showing respect? You passing each other, won't speak. The kids see what you're doing, everything.
Right.
We can't do that.
So we're closing this area of respect. I wanted to share the scripture. I wrote the wrong scripture down, but the scripture that is there is that I didn't even know this was in the Bible because here I am. the one that God sent me to do life with, the one that God sent me to help me and to push me and to make the best person. And God added me to add value to her life and to push her and to make her the best person that God has called her to be. The biggest thing was I was trying to believe God for things and they were not manifesting. And I think that's where people miss it, particularly Christian brothers and sisters. They're thinking there's something else in their life. They're thinking they're not doing enough. They're thinking they're not pushing enough. They're thinking they're not working hard enough. But here's the most important thing. The Bible says this. He said, treat your wife according to knowledge, dealing with her according to knowledge, loving her, treating her as the weaker vessel. This says she was the weaker vessel. I believe he said treat her as the weaker vessel because you should value. You should value something as you don't want it to break. You want to care for it and treat it as a weaker vessel. And then listen to this. He says, so that your prayers
won't be hindered.
Will not be hindered.
Yeah, it's some
God
prayers being hindered
will not
out there.
Answer your prayer. He will not answer your prayer. Thine iniquity has hidden God from me. You're wondering what's stopping you, why I can't take my life to the next level, why I can't take my ministry to the next level. What is stopping my dream from breaking through? What is it? What is stopping us? How are you treating the one that God gave you to do life with? How are you treating them? How are you treating them? Do you just cuss them out? I mean, cuss them out. You say cuss words. You call your wife a B. You're the wife. You call
your husband dumb, stupid.
Ignorant.
You ain't doing this. You ain't doing that. Come on, guys.
How are you treating the one that God has told you to do life with? And that's respect. And it has to manifest in your words, your actions, and your reactions.
And let me say one last thing before we get ready to close. We are by no means saying
no, cut it off. That's how you do me. No, go ahead.
We're by no means saying that you don't deal with problem areas. We're by no means saying that you don't deal with issues, that you don't address things. There might be areas that your spouse needs to come higher or that you need to come higher, but there is a way that you do things. There is a way that you do it. And like my husband saying, you walk and there's this strife in your home and everything, and you wonder why your prayers aren't being answered.
Now, a couple of things I want to make sure we do before we go. I didn't realize we did that. Okay, but so we put this out.
All that.
No, right here. Treat your spouse because she was created by God. Did I say that one?
You didn't say that one, so you can say, but you said.
But here's the one. Here's the thing, because we made a point. I want to make sure that I want to get to this point because a lot of times, you say one thing, your wife says something else. You think it's, some people think it's a conflict, but you have to respect your wife's uniqueness and differences.
Your spouse's uniqueness and differences.
They're different. You know what I'm saying? We see each other. We see things differently, and so the differences are not sent there to make you weaker. It's sent there to make you stronger. And then,
think about a puzzle. Have you ever put a puzzle together where all the sides were the same? It won't fit. It won't stay together. But a puzzle, the sides are different, but they'll come together and jointly fit together. And that's what it is in a marriage. Two different people with two different viewpoints and experiences and so forth, but together God has brought you together, and you're no longer two, but you're one.
Respect your wife's or you respect your spouse's talents. I think that's important. Talents. My wife's very thorough. Let me give you this number about respect. Like, I'm good at numbers. I loves me's a budget.
Yeah. I can crunch numbers. And when we first got married, my husband wanted to just dominate the finances because where he grew up, men handled the money. Women had nothing to do with the money. Right. But numbers were, at that point in his life, numbers were not his strong. Numbers were not his strong point. And so, when I say numbers was not his strong point, it was not, like, I'd be like, baby, you wrote a check, but the carbon went under there, so I don't know who you wrote a check to. Oh, okay. No, you can't do that.
I used to write checks by faith.
I mean,
you write a check and believe that the money, no.
Numbers was not, I can laugh now because the Lord has brought him a mighty long way. But numbers were not his strong point. And so he wanted to handle the money. I said, well, that's my strength. I can crunch numbers in my head. I can tell you how things have been. So I can go down to the pen. I can tell you where all of it went. And it comes natural to me. I loves me some numbers. that wasn't his strength, but he was going to insist on doing it because he thought that's what he was supposed to do. And I was like, no. That's not your strength.
That was her talent. Her strength is handling money. When we first started the church, respecting a person's talents. My talent is working with people.
His talents work.
I know how to.
He can work on the benevolence committee.
No. Benevolence.
He get a whole church away.
But my talent is working with people. So you have to respect each other's talents, and the talent that they have is sent to support you and make you better.
Exactly.
Each other's perspective, opinions. I think we did that.
Yeah,
one.
we said that. Respect each other's perspectives
and
opinions.
Then here's the big one, and we'll close with this: respect each other's likes and dislikes.
Respect each other's. Okay. Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah. Respect each other's likes and dislikes. Respect it. Yeah. My husband loves sports. I realized a long time ago I cannot pull him away from football, even though they be lying to you about how long those games are. It's a lie. It's always like 3 hours.
Now, respecting your wife's or your spouse's likes and dislikes. Here's one of the things, because we talk about. Okay, I know we got to go. Here we talk about spending time together. Mm-hmm. My wife actually sometimes will sit down and actually watch a game with me, and I enjoy it. I don't enjoy when she's asking me questions during the game. I don't enjoy that, but then she'll just fall asleep and have a wonderful time together. I hate shopping for house stuff, like pictures, and my wife got all kind of wonderful things in our home, paintings and little. I'm from the hood. We call them figurines.
And you know how you have your nice decorative pillows on the couch?
Yeah,
somebody inbox my husband and tell him the purpose of the decorative
pillows.
I
thought a pillow.
You don't ball it up and put your head on it.
I thought you bought a pillow. That was a pillow. You're supposed to sleep on it.
So,
but anyway,
we're working on some things.
So what we would do to spend time together, I'll go to the store that she loves. What's the name of the store?
The At Home Store.
The At Home Store. Oh my God, my wife loves that store, and it's like torture. But I respect her likes and her dislikes, and I understand that a lot of times it's just her way of saying, "Honey, let's spend some time together. Let's talk. Let's do this." And a lot of times when we're walking through the store, we're not even talking about anything other than stuff for the house, but it's valued, it's shared responsibilities, and we respect each other's likes and dislikes. Amen. All right, guys.